Hey guys, Outlaw Curtis here from HoldSquare.com with our weekly HoldSquare video game podcast. I am joined as always by my buddy to the far left here, Brett Weiss.
Hello, how's it going, Curtis?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Doing great.
Good.
Finally, my KISS encyclopedia has been published.
Encyclopedia, okay.
Yeah, it's called Encyclopedia of KISS, and it is available on Amazon, and you can find it on my website, brettweisswords.com.
Okay.
A true labor
Cool.
of love. I've been a fan of the band since the mid-'70s. Everything, from a 40-year history of the band is in here in alphabetical order.
That's awesome.
Read it. If you like KISS, guaranteed you'll love this
And
book.
we'll definitely talk more KISS, but I think we should at least introduce who's sitting here with us. Jordan Aaron, how are you doing, Jordan?
Again,
That joke never, I never get tired of that, introducing you as Jordan.
I'm going to start charging you guys to come here if you keep getting my name wrong.
Actually, as you should know by now, this is my buddy Derek Morrison of 8176 Designs. We're sitting here on location this week. Normally we broadcast from Brett's Awesome Game Room, but this week it's Memorial Day. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we decided to shoot on location. Derek has been working on some cool stuff that we wanted to talk about for just a little bit before we get into the podcast. So, Derek, what kind of stuff have you been working on lately for HoldSquare?
Well, we got some new things. We've got a couple of you guys out there that's placed some orders with us, so we're very appreciative of that. Hopefully more of you guys will continue to contribute to the company and everything. We're working on newer T-shirt designs. We're working on mugs, cups, and
Grab that mug right there and show that mug. And I'm going to grab our very first.
See if you guys can see it here. So I don't know if you guys can actually see it. Curtis, would you mind showing that closer?
I'll also post a picture of this on the front page so you can kind of see it.
But we got an etched glass with the Reaper. It says greatness and holdsquare.com underneath it.
Very cool.
These guys, these are actually hand engraved, so the glass is pretty thick beer glass.
It's
so
really heavy duty. It's really cool.
we got these guys coming. We're going to be working on some Pilsner glasses as well, so anybody who doesn't want the big cups, we're going to be selling these.
I'm sensing some beer drinking in the near future.
Look, I'm not going to name any names.
And for the ladies.
But there may or may not be some alcohol consumed within the Reapers. May or may not.
May or
grape
may
juice.
We'll leave that at
Something.
grape juice,
Yeah,
high C,
something.
and the socks. When you showed me those
Fermented grape
today,
juice.
those are awesome.
These are the newest items. They're not out yet. We're still playing with them, still kind of playing with some designs. I just kind of whipped these up for Curtis here probably within the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So you got your socks, and we'll have different sizes. You've got them for the men's, different shoe sizes. I've got tube socks. We can add some different
And
things.
then the last thing we got to show here, this was the first official order you took through the website. That's by Isaac, Dark CSE. That's his order. It's about to go out.
The post office is closed today.
I know we can't. Sorry, we can't send it out today. But
Right.
yeah,
So
but
let me just take it out and kind of show everybody. So basically, this is what your retro Reaper shirt will look like.
so awesome. And
One
it's
of
got
several
the-
designs. for
One of
HoldSquare.
several designs. It's got his PSN ID on the sleeve there. I mean, this thing is super cool. I'm going to hold this up a little bit.
So you got an old school feel with that one. It's very,
It's awesome.
It's a nice design. It's definitely, one of the ones I kind of figured would be the first.
And what is your website for ordering these shirts and awesome things?
8176designs.com, and you also have a link to your website on Amazon where you can buy all of Brett's cool books. And
So go to 8176 Designs. You can check out all of our stuff there and all the other stuff that you guys are able to do, because I know you guys are able to do a lot of other stuff.
you can contact us through the website if you have a suggestion or if you have a question about the products, rather than going through Curtis or going through Brett. You guys can get a hold of me directly. I will send you personal emails back saying we got your order, or this is what we're looking to be doing. And we're still working on stuff for the future, so
Awesome.
within the next couple months you guys are going to be bigger than Kohl's.
Speaking of that, we'll get into that. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
All right, Derek.
Thanks, sir.
We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk a little video games. But thanks for coming on here for a second, Derek. But anyway, also speaking of Derek, he whipped me up this amazing As you know, I'm a big Chewbacca fan.
Right.
I think I'm on record as
Yeah.
showing that I'm a large Chewbacca fan, and this Believe shirt here is just amazing. I told him, I said, we're going to talk a little Chewbacca Mom because I need to update. Now, I told you
your chair's taller than me. I need to get up here. Oh,
I'm taller than you in general,
Not by much.
but even well enough. It's just like
okay.
it's just like
That's
a basketball game. 99 to 98 is still a
It's
win.
still a
so
win.
That's
Right.
right. Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
But anyway, so in this last week, I've taken a little heat for my comments about the Chewbacca Mom. Now, I think if we all watched the podcast last week and then we saw my exact comments boiled down to two things. One, I was not accusing anyone of anything improper. I thought if it was a conspiracy, it was genius and
Right.
kind of I wish I had thought of it first
Yeah.
kind of deal. I just said that anytime I see that kind of viral stuff and then dollars are attached to it in some way, it makes me suspicious.
yeah.
and
There's no doubt that there are companies out there trying to make videos that go viral. The thing
Right.
is, though, who knows what's going to go viral?
That's true.
There's no telling.
That's true.
In my opinion, on the video of the Chewbacca Mom sitting in her car laughing, it just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
I
your view
I
is
just don't
different
think it's
than
funny.
mine. I thought her
and-
laughing was a little funny.
Yeah, maybe, but for me, it just wasn't funny. And I don't see 140 million views. I don't really get that. And
Yeah, that's
She's got to
insane.
meet Jay. My wife just thinks I'm jealous because she's got to meet the Chewbacca Mom has gotten to meet J.J. Abrams. She's been on television.
She got a hug from Peter Mayhew, the actual
yeah.
Chewbacca
She got a bunch
actor.
of free stuff from Kohl's.
Right,
So,
right.
like Star Wars stuff. So
Right.
Maybe I'm a little jealous.
Kohl's is making out pretty good on this deal.
Yeah, good free advertising.
They're doing
Oh, absolutely.
free
Yeah.
advertising. Well,
So
we'll
you
use
think
air
right,
quotes.
You think they paid for it?
One of these, no,
She's a paid actress.
No, I think
No.
it's possible.
Possible.
And I think that people that don't think that they're not sitting in advertising agencies around board tables right now trying to do this kind of stuff
Right.
are crazy. Because I'm telling you, as a marketing person and
Yeah.
as an advertising person my whole life, that's exactly what they're
Yeah,
doing.
there's no doubt companies are trying to make viral videos. It's just, what's the key to a viral video? I mean,
And that's the whole thing, is how do you make it go viral? How do
yeah.
you get it?
It seems more organic. Usually, most viral videos are
But I feel like
organic.
I feel like we're learning. I feel like we're starting to see what kinds of things. I think Jerry Springer has figured out what is sometimes the lowest common denominator
Kind of a
on
dated
things.
reference. Jerry Springer, that's kind of a dated reference. Isn't
Is
it?
that dated? I think when I
What's
say
he doing
Jerry
now?
Springer, I think everyone knows what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So
Just sensationalism and stuff?
right, exactly. So that whole showman kind of mentality. But anyway, so I'm a big fan of the Chewbacca Mom. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Representing today. But I still, the next time this happens, man, I'm going to be suspicious.
Yeah, I have nothing against the Chewbacca Mom or the video. I just don't think it's that funny. And and I was-
Why do you think other people do? Why do you think?
Well,
somebody-
I've heard
Why
people
am I
say
getting
this.
beaten up by? I have not had a guy beat me up about
Okay,
this. I've had
here-
women beat me up
I think
about
here's the
this.
deal. She's a relatable person. She's a normal person. She's not,
Every day, she's not a supermodel. She's
Right,
not a.
yeah.
Yeah, she's just a run-of-the-mill
She
mom.
seems kind of likable, and a lot of people say the video brings them joy and even inspiration, just because it's like I've literally heard people say that, just because it's like this, like we're living in crazy times. I mean, the world
Yeah,
is in
there's no
chaos,
question, yeah.
and the political thing is a joke, but people just say this just gives them, a couple of minutes of just pleasure and joy and just laughter, and so that's fine, that's great,
Speaking of the political thing, as I was looking this morning, I copied this and reshared it on Facebook. But we talked about how the choice between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is like the choice between which outlet to stick this butter knife in.
Right? Yeah.
I saw a bumper sticker that said it was like a presidential looking bumper sticker that said. Great Meteor 2016. Let's just get it over with, kind of deal.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're
Right.
hoping for a meteor to fall out of the sky. That's the choice we all want. So
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, we're shooting here today. We're both off of work because it happens to be Memorial Day. Now we have several holidays here, and again, HoldSquare itself is a global gaming community. We have members in 13 countries, and we have people watching all over the world. So this doesn't apply to everybody. Of course, we're just talking about an American holiday, but you and I are in America, and so this is something that's always kind of bugged me a little bit. Last week I had my kind of little rant about the American flag and
Flag Nazi.
flag, flag Nazi. I don't know if that works, but yeah, but I am
Flag purist. You're a flag
I'm a
purist.
stickler for
Right.
for details when it comes to certain things. Not
Yeah.
everything, but that. And so today on Memorial Day, we have two different specific holidays in this country that are to celebrate our veterans in different ways, right? Which I have been a proud, supporter of. My daughter, as you know, is going into the military. She's going into the Navy. My grandfather, who has now passed from this earth, was a veteran of World War II. And we have Memorial Day today. Now, are you familiar with the difference between Memorial Day and Veteran Day?
Yeah, Memorial Day is to celebrate the people who gave their lives in military service for this country, and then Veterans Day is just more general, celebrating people who are in the military.
Right. Now, I wanna read something real quick, and this basically it kind of sums up. Many people confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is a day for remembering and honoring military personnel who died in the service of their country, particularly those who died in a battle or as a result of wounds sustained in battle. While those who died are also remembered, so like my grandfather did not die in World War II.
Right.
He is passed from this earth now, but he gave a lot of his life to military service. Veterans Day, on the other hand, is set aside to thank and honor all those who served honorably in the military in wartime or in peacetime.
And are actively serving?
Yeah, no, they don't have to
Right.
be active.
No,
they can be
I don't
a
mean
veteran.
have to be. It can be both.
It can be both.
Yeah.
Yes, it can absolutely be
Right.
both. Now, there is a link on this thing. You can read the difference, and this Washington Post article I just quoted really talks about it well. But again, I think every day, just like I think every day should be Mother's Day. I think I've been on a record as that, and I
Right.
think in a way every day should be Veterans and
Yeah,
Memorial
I
Day.
like
We
when
should-
when I'm at the airport or a restaurant or somewhere, and there'll be a guy or a girl in military gear, and someone says thank you for serving. They'll just randomly out of the blue thank you for
Yeah.
serving, or buy their coffee or their meal or whatever.
Absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's
Yeah.
awesome too. And it's not bad to honor our military in different ways all the time.
Right.
The problem I have is on Christmas, what do we celebrate? Those that are Christians or those that are religious in that way celebrate the birth of Jesus.
Oh, I was
not-
thinking Santa Claus when you said
It
that.
was
I was
Santa
like, okay,
you
sorry.
thought Santa Claus. Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're on different levels as far as that goes. We won't get into that. We'll
Right.
save that for another podcast. But and then on Easter, it's when it was Jesus' death, and raised from the dead. If you are into that sort of thing, there are two different holidays about the same person that different aspects of it. Okay, that's the analogy I'm drawing. So
Right.
Memorial Day is for the death of those that have passed. It's a memorial. The word itself
Right.
implies that. Veterans Day is really for anybody that served,
Yeah.
living or dead. It's a thank you to those veterans. And so I guess it just bugs me sometimes when I see on Facebook and, using it improperly, because again, I have so much respect for it. I want to make sure if we're going to celebrate these things, we do it right.
And I have a great deal of respect for anybody who serves or served in the past, because I appreciate the freedoms we have, but I can't envision myself in the military. I just don't think I'm cut out. Picture Private Pile or Woody Allen in Love and Death, who's just clumsy and doesn't, just
Yeah.
a gun, just doesn't
Trying
feel-
to
yeah.
envision you in the military.
Yeah,
That would
and-
make a
and
good movie.
The rigid
That-
structure and everything, that just doesn't work for me. But that actually just increases my respect for people who are in
Absolutely.
the military and
Also-
who are willing to do that kind of thing.
Also, they do have some of their uniforms and shirts that have collars on them, and they're required to wear shoes with like closed toes and stuff that
Yeah,
aren't flip flops.
and they have to make their bed.
They oh my gosh, they have to make their beds. They have to get up
Right.
super early. Yeah.
And the whole crawl. Now the boot camp and the athletic part, no problem. But the structural stuff and the guns and all
okay.
that,
So the
that would be
physical
difficult. Yeah, I can
stuff
handle
you're
that.
okay with, the
Oh, yeah.
running, all that sort of
I
thing.
can do that,
Okay,
but yeah.
But the other stuff you'd have a problem
Yeah.
with. So and again, I couldn't see myself in the military, so that gives me even more respect
Yeah.
for those that choose to do that.
Yeah, we're just
So
a couple
anyway.
of nerdy goofballs that do a podcast.
Right. Well, I live it out through Call of Duty. That's the whole
Yeah,
thing. I get
right.
it out of my system there.
Yeah,
'cause
so you'll never be honored
which
on a
I'm
holiday.
not any good at anyway. So I'm not even
Right.
good at Call of Duty. So
Right.
much less the real thing. But anyway, and thanks again to Derek. Again, I mentioned the shirt here that I'm wearing here, so I want to make sure I mention 8176 Designs again. But it is Memorial Day, and he's letting us film here on location, so I'm really excited. We got a great show today. So a couple things I want to mention before we get into too much here. First of all, our raffle is still going on. Now, we talked about the raffle, and we're selling raffle tickets. As of right now, we've sold about 32 raffle tickets. Our goal is to sell 150. That's $1,500. And in exchange for that 150 raffle tickets sold, I am going to do a podcast in full Mad Moxie drag.
Right.
If we sell 200 raffle tickets, I'm going to not only do that, but also dye my hair pink and then shave my head. So I feel like it's a pretty good payoff.
Yeah.
I'm really frightened about it. The funny thing is, even though we haven't reached our goal and we're not even really halfway there yet, I have had a couple people mention that they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we hit that goal. So it may be the kind of deal where we get to the 11th hour and then all of a sudden, boom, you know, like $1,000 comes in from one person or something. But that being said, if you want to be a part of the raffle, and I didn't mention it last week, so I feel guilty about not mentioning it during the podcast. We're going to go ahead and extend it a couple more weeks. I did say June 1st originally, but some other people want to participate. So we're going to extend it to June 15th. So for the next 2 weeks, okay, and I'm not going to extend it past June 15th. If we don't reach it by then, we don't reach it. But if you want to purchase a raffle ticket, they're $10 a piece. All you do is click the donation button on the front page of HoldSquare.com. And you don't even have to be a Reaper if you just like what we do. If you just want to see me
that's another thing. You don't have to be a Reaper to watch this podcast.
Absolutely
this is just a general interest pop culture video game podcast.
Yeah, we talk about video games. We're just a couple dudes that like video games and comics and sci-fi and other stuff. So this is something that kind of was generated in our community, but it's not something that is just for us. So hopefully a lot of people are enjoying it.
And if you go to HoldSquare.com and you donate $10 or buy a raffle ticket for $10 and indicate that that's what you're buying, you'll get a free digital copy of my retro pop culture book. So that's a $5 value already. So basically, you're getting half your money back right there.
Yeah. So
and we will
just
send you a digital PDF of this book. So
yeah, awesome.
Anyway.
So we'll be doing that for another couple of weeks. So keep in kind of online and check the website, check our Facebook and Twitter accounts as well, and we'll keep you up to date on how that's going and if I'm going to have to prepare. Now, I got my hair cut this weekend. I was going to tell you, and I knew you were noticing how great it looks.
No.
Amanda, my hairstylist, always does a fantastic job. And I talked to her about it this weekend. And she has offered to come onto the podcast and actually be the one on camera to dye and or shave my head.
She can sit in for me then.
You feel a cold coming on that's got a 14-day incubation period.
I'll be here.
So she is.
If you're being humiliated, I'm on board.
You're on board.
Yes,
you're there.
Absolutely.
Front row seat to that.
Right.
Okay. Well, great. Well, our next segment is our gaming news segment. We want to get into all the gaming news that's been happening this week. And there have been lots of things in the gaming world this week that we need to talk about for sure. Not the least of which is the release or the upcoming release of some DLC for Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is one of those games that I've told you, whenever we get your PS4 system going, that has to be one of your first games.
Well, I have it on the Wii U. I just haven't played it yet.
You have it on the Wii U?
I have the digital download code.
So we could actually be discussing Minecraft as two players of the game?
Okay. My homework assignment this week is to play Minecraft.
To play Minecraft.
Yes,
okay, good.
Right.
Well, the cool thing about it is Minecraft is such an open experience and such a social experience. And what people have done historically, and what you've done on PC, because PC is always a little bit ahead of the consoles on the curve, is getting in there and creating their own little mini games and their own little mini competitions. But now with this new DLC, we're going to be able to set up PvP matches and games within there where score is kept and things like that.
Right.
And one of the kind of cool little features is that even when you die, you don't leave that world. You get to fly around as a bat and watch the action as the remainder of the game is being played out. So kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, that's carried over there's some other games where if you're playing them and your character dies, you don't just completely non-exist. There's some other games where you can kind of distract the other players with things, so
and still be involved in some way.
Yeah, and still have something to do and just sitting there for the next 30 minutes while everybody else has fun.
Well, I like the aspect because a lot of times in games when you die, it gives you the ability to look through other characters' eyes, right? You can watch through player 1 or through player 3 and watch what they're doing, but you're watching from their perspective. This coming back as a bat and being able to fly around and kind of watch the action, to me is... I almost kind of want to die. Well, I'll die early anyway because I stink.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, I'll be one of the first ones. It's like, oh, there's Curtis flying around up there. But anyway, I know a lot of people, at least in our community, and I know in the Minecraft community in general, are really looking forward to being able to set up these little mini games.
Sounds cool.
And it for a group like ours, it makes a lot of sense because then we can have contests and giveaways and all kinds of things that are kind of attached to it. So So that's one thing, definitely. And then some more details have come out. Speaking of Minecraft type games, is 7 Days to Die, which is a game we haven't talked about on the podcast yet.
Right, yeah.
Now, it's one of these games that is very similar to Minecraft. It's a building, open world type of game where you can build things and craft things and enchant things and things like that. The interesting thing to this is kind of Minecraft mixed with a zombie survival game. So essentially, you're building your fortress, you're building your defenses, and then every 7 days, there's what they call a blood moon, and the zombies come out. Now, you can either engage them directly with your guns and weapons, or a combination of using your defenses you set up and seeing if it holds up, if you survive the night. And I got to tell you, it's been out on PC for a while. It's finally coming to console. And being a zombie guy, I'm a big Walking Dead fan.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff. I'm huge into Call of Duty.
Quick,
zombies.
what's your favorite zombie film of all time?
Zombie film of all
Yes.
time? Zombieland.
That's a good one.
Zombieland.
Yeah. I'm still going with the original Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. How can you
Love
go wrong
it.
with
1968.
that? George Romero.
Oh, genius.
And the cool thing about that is, and a Call of Duty zombie tie-in, which I always love, is there was a map in Black Ops 1 where it was called, now I'm forgetting the name of the map. It was a snow map. Man, I am going to
It was a map. You can say that.
I'm going to get
Right.
killed for this, that I'm
Uh-huh.
not remembering the name of it. But it's from Black Ops 1. It was a snow map.
Uh-huh.
And George Romero is a mini boss that comes
Oh,
out.
excellent.
He's like kind of zombified.
I think
He's
I've heard
got
of
this
something about
huge
that, yeah.
and he comes out and chases you around the map and stuff.
Right.
Awesome.
That is so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, Zombieland to me got such a perfect mixture of having some horror elements.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. And the scene, okay, spoiler alert, Bill Murray is in there and is a zombie and gets killed, okay?
Right.
But the statute of limitations
Yeah,
on
it's
spoilers
over.
only goes
Yeah.
so long. But his scene in there where he
That's
pretends to
greatness.
be a zombie
Right.
because
Yeah.
he wants to be funny,
Right.
and then he gets killed and he's like, he's just distraught because it was his own stupid fault. It's
Right.
It's one of the funniest scenes ever. It's
Great
really
movie. It's hilarious. And Night of the Living Dead, if you haven't seen it, you've got to watch it. It's the seminal zombie film, and it's, there would be no, what's the current zombie TV show that everybody watches?
Walking Dead.
There would be no Walking
What's
Dead.
the current TV show? What's the matter with you?
Senior moment. There would be no Walking Dead without Night of the Living Dead,
Oh no question. And the whole term "zombie kill of the week" it was in Zombieland, where they're coming up with all these creative ways to kill zombies.
Right.
And we had a little contest going. Dying Light was a game that came out last year, a zombie-based game, an awesome zombie-based game. And you could do some amazing things in that. And we tried to come up with ways that you could kill zombies in unique ways. And there were these hazmat workers that turned, and they had oxygen tanks on their back. And so I figured out a way that if you slice the oxygen tank just right, they would shoot into the air in like a whirly gig, just spin around and explode.
Cool.
And so we tried to get all that on camera.
Right.
And now with the PS4, you can upload those videos. So we'd have those zombie kill of the week contests.
Right.
So definitely Zombieland.
Briefly, another funny zombie movie is Return of the Living Dead. It's not considered part of, there's the original Dead trilogy.
Which I
by
don't think
Romero.
I ever saw Return.
Yeah, there's the original Dead trilogy, like Night of the Living Dead,
Right.
and Dawn of the Dead and all that. Well, then after that, there's Return of the Living Dead. It's awesome.
Really?
I'll loan it to you.
I'm gonna have to,
Yeah.
because I've already borrowed Cloak and Dagger from you,
Uh-huh.
which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, but because I've got to watch that as well.
Right.
But anyway, so 7 Days to Die is coming out on console, and
Sounds
that's
cool.
one I'm definitely looking forward to. So
Yeah.
anyway, also in gaming news this week, we would be remiss if we did not talk about this for a couple different reasons. First of all, No Man's Sky was a game that made it into your summer preview with your article that you talked about last week.
Yeah, it did, and unfortunately, it's been delayed.
It has been delayed, and it has been delayed to August 9th in America and then August 10th in Europe, which has got a lot of people pretty upset.
Yeah, diehard gamers tend to not take this news too well.
And see, I've never understood that, because a game delay means they are, I look forward to these games as much as anybody.
Better late than flawed.
Better late than flawed. That's a great
Yeah.
phrase, because I do the same thing everyone else does. I circle these dates on my calendar. I
Yeah.
put them in my head. I look for them. And then when they get delayed, and like Little Big Planet is notorious, like every Little Big Planet has always been delayed.
Yeah.
So even when the first release date comes out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to tack 3 months onto that, because it's just
Right.
not going to. But the thing that ticks me off the most is a game like The Division, which came out and had a chance to be an amazing game. It's a very good game, but could have been Game of the Year. And they should have held it 3 more
They just
months
would
and
have
worked
postponed
the
it a little
bugs.
bit
Yes. So
Yeah.
No Man's Sky we've talked about. Space exploration.
Right.
A randomly generated universe. A procedurally generated universe where no 2 planets are the same. What the freak do you think is going to happen? This thing is going to be bugged no matter
it's a
what.
miss.
It is to have such a large game like this.
Yeah.
Give these people a chance to get it right. The last thing we want is to get this game and it not work.
When a game is delayed that I'm looking forward to, and it's not going to be out for 2 months, I guess I'll fire up my PS2 and just run through God of War again.
And it's
or just run up to GameStop and get a cheap $5 game that has a lot, just play an old game.
And
for
it's
a while.
not like we don't have enough out right now already. I'm a little bit glad it's delayed because I don't have enough time to play all the games that are out as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, so do I need an infinite universe now? Is that what I need in my life? No, I've got Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, Dark Souls, Battleborn. I've got all these games now that I don't have time to play,
Yeah, and
much
plus
less
you have
adding
to, plus you have to sleep sometimes.
there's sleep and food
Yeah.
requirements that are really
Right.
unnecessarily, taxing. So
Yeah.
And now they're getting death threats over this.
Right.
I mean, on Twitter and stuff like this. And, some people get upset about this sort of thing to the point where they really cross a line. And let me just tell you, you people are idiots, straight up idiots. If you're threatening
and we know it's
someone
none of you, our viewing
No,
audience.
I am saying the people out there giving death threats on Twitter because a
Right.
game is delayed 2 months, you need to knock it off.
And there are some jokes
get
that
a
aren't-
life.
And even if you're a troll and you're doing death threats or you're doing bomb threats, any of those kind of, humor does cross a line. There's
Yeah.
no such thing as a funny bomb threat or a funny
No.
death threat, or that's too possible. That's
It's 2016.
that's not.
Things that you thought were maybe funny back in 1986. That
Yeah.
some of those things aren't funny anymore.
Right, you just can't go there.
Yeah, you just can't go there.
Right.
And so anyway, so the idea that people are so upset about a video game being delayed, not
Yeah.
even even if it was canceled and said we're not making it,
Right.
that still wouldn't warrant it. But it's just delayed a little bit so they can get it right. Is
Right.
just to me ludicrous.
Yeah.
So, and I mentioned a second ago talking about games that I've got stacked up right now that I can't even get to.
Right.
And so we're about halfway through the year. Every year at HoldSquare.com, we have our vote of our game of the year. And everyone does this. Game Informer,
Yeah.
IGN, they have their games of the year. They have the VGA awards where they give the big game of the year.
Right.
And so I always like about halfway through the year to kind of see where we're at, see how things are looking, and kind of see what's the front runner right now.
Yeah. Well, I play mostly old games, so it didn't
So
really
you
apply
have
to me.
so you have no idea. So your games of the year are Pac-Man and Mr. Do, and what was the one you mentioned a minute ago? You said
What did I say? I don't know, some old game.
I don't know, some old game.
Yeah.
Something. Well, I have played most of the big games this year,
Yeah.
and going through Metacritic, and although Metacritic is not my deciding factor, reviews in general are not my deciding factor.
Yeah.
I don't make up my mind on games, so I actually
Yeah,
play
without
them.
hands-on experience, I've read some reviews of movies and games that just are butchered, and then I actually see it or play it, and I'm like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
not because
You have to do it
is-
yourself before you really know.
It is so subjective,
Yeah.
and it's just like movies, just
Yeah.
like music. It's
Everybody
very
hated the
subjective.
Daredevil movie. I like it a lot.
The Daredevil one,
Yeah.
with Affleck in it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a lot like the Frank Miller Daredevil from the comics of the 80s.
It's not bad. I thought he was pretty good in it, and he
Yeah.
showed some glimpses that he could be a pretty good Batman.
Yeah,
which
and
I
it's
think we
dark,
both
and there's
agree.
cool battles, and
Right.
it's a cool movie. Anyway,
Jennifer Garner too.
well, you can't go wrong
Nothing
there.
wrong with Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
But isn't there something about a hot girl that could just kick your butt up one side and down the other? There's something about that. It's a psychological thing. Maybe it's just me, but
Well,
is there
since
some-
I'm married, no comment.
well, I promise Carice could take you out. No question. She is.
Yeah.
She's a
That's why I
spark
know-
plug. She could totally. You're
Yeah.
taller than her and the big, but.
I'm still afraid of her.
I'd pick her absolutely. And there's women in my life. Every
Yeah.
woman in my life is smaller than me, but as is yours for the most part. And
Yeah.
I'm scared of every single one of them. So.
Absolutely.
But anyway, getting back to this game of the year so far, and what's ironic about this is that anytime an Uncharted game comes out, they always win game of the year.
Yeah.
So you pretty much just give it to them and move
Yeah,
on.
everybody's talking about how Uncharted 4 is automatically one of their top 10 of all time.
It is, and I am about right now. I think about 40% of the way through it. I'm on. I'm on chapter 8, and I believe there's 20 chapters in it, so I'm just now getting into it. But from what I've seen so far, there's nothing to lead me to believe it's not going to be
the game of the year.
The game of the year, if not one of the top 2 or 3 game of the years. Right. Now, we've got some other really strong competitors that I have also played. Battleborn is awesome. Now, typically, the problem with at least the way game of the year has gone in the last 8 to 10 years is it has to be very strong from a story standpoint. A very strong story, very good story. The Last of Us was another Naughty Dog game that was pretty much everyone's game of the year. Red Dead Redemption, those kind of games, amazingly strong story. And while Battleborn has a good story, it's more of a multiplayer game.
You know, one thing I noticed, Battleborn does have some mixed reviews. You know, if you just look it up,
it does have some mixed reviews, and I can see some of the. Battleborn is one of those games that I love Battleborn. And it's one of those games that is good now, and in 6 months it's going to be awesome. Once some of these bugs are worked out and some of these glitches, these characters that you can do unbelievable things with that you shouldn't be able to do, and when some DLC is added to it, when it's tightened up a bit, it's going to be even better. It's one of those games that's so huge and so ambitious that it's one of those they probably could have delayed another year and still had
delay it.
Yeah, I don't even know that you ever get one of those all the way right because you need it in people's hands to do the testing because nothing is like the community when it comes to finding bugs.
Oh gosh, fans know way. See, that's the thing that always amazes me about fans. No matter how many books I write, no matter how much research I do, no matter how many articles I write, if there's a specific topic, there's going to be a fan that knows more than me.
Absolutely.
Because they're just this particular subject will just consume them.
That one subject.
Yeah.
They go so deep in that one area, they're going to correct you on some Atari 2600
or just be able to remember it off the top of their head.
Recall it instantly or something like that. So anyway, aside from Battleborn, the other two that jump out at me are going to be Dark Souls 3 and Ratchet & Clank. Now, Ratchet & Clank has gotten some mixed reviews, but still it's averaging over an 85 on Metacritic. And I think it's an amazing game. Ratchet & Clank is it won't win Game of the Year, but it is one of the best games of the year. And the fact that now the technology is caught up to such a point where you can literally feel like you are playing a Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's pretty much guaranteed it won't win Game of the Year just because, I mean, it's obviously a great game and looks great and everything, but it's sort of a remake or a retread. And those kind of games typically don't.
It's a combination. It's not a true remake. It's what they call a reimagining with some new level design and everything. So a lot of times they don't take those into account, but at the same time, it definitely is one of the best games of the year. The other game of the year, real candidate in my opinion. Now, I haven't played Overwatch yet, and it's getting amazing reviews. I can't give game of the year to a game that has Overwatch doesn't even have a story mode. It's all multiplayer. It's all competitive multiplayer. So it might be multiplayer game of the year. You could give it that. But just overall game of the year to me kind of has to be the complete package. And the other game that is really a complete package is Dark Souls 3. Now, it's too difficult for a lot of people. It's too hardcore for a lot of people. It probably is responsible for more broken controllers and stuff like that than anything. And I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again. Demon Souls, the very first one in this series, was the only game I've literally ejected from my console and had the disc in my hand ready to throw it out the window. I literally was going to throw it out the window. And I didn't, and I'm so glad that I didn't because it's an amazing series, but it does not hold your hand. It does not have big signs that say walk this way. And it's very dark, and it's very... I mean, it can be oppressive and difficult, but when you beat a boss in that, you feel like you want to throw a party. I mean, so
that's cool.
It's got a very good story.
I love those kind of games that are just balls to the wall, hardcore, where you're just literally sweating while you play the game. You know, if you play like God of War on hard mode or Maximo for the PS2, where just these third-person hack and slashes where you're just
well, and
sweat and blood.
Diablo 3 has the mode that you can play where you play the entire game through and you can't die at all. If you die, you start the whole thing over.
That's brutal. That harkens back to the NES days.
Brutal.
That's like the NES.
I mean, it's just. I mean, so there are some out there, and if that's your kind of thing, Dark Souls is definitely your type of game. So because there is no hand holding, but I would say right now, from everything I've seen, and I have not finished Uncharted yet, but the quality of this game, the attention to detail, and I say this about Naughty Dog all the time. Every time they release a game, The second you put the disc in, it works. There are no bugs. It's so well crafted. It's such a great game, and it is not glitchy. You're not going to get in there and have game-breaking bugs. You're not going to get in there and have game-breaking glitches.
Yeah, there's a reason they have such a great reputation in the
Absolutely.
gaming industry.
Absolutely.
One recent game I have played that I guarantee you won't win Game of the Year is Star Fox Zero. Now, not because it's not a good game. It
Right.
is. It's solid, but it's got some flighty kind of. The controls aren't the best, and it's
Right.
not a great it's not as good as Star Fox 64 for the Nintendo 64.
I
so.
loved Star Fox 64.
Yeah, that's a better
So
game,
great.
but this is still good, but it won't win Game of the Year.
No Game of the Year
Yeah.
consideration. Okay, so
Right.
at this point, my front runner is Uncharted 4. Now we've got some other stuff coming out later in the year. No Man's Sky may be in the
Yeah.
conversation, and there's some other ones coming out. But for right now, I would have to say Uncharted 4 is
That's
definitely
cool.
my game of the
Probably
year.
a
so
safe
far.
pick.
Yeah,
from what I
I'm
hear.
really going
Yeah.
out there and
Really dark
really
horse.
going out on
Right.
I'm going out on a limb there. But anyway, so some other stuff has happened this week and we're both superhero guys. We always talk about, which I meant to bring something today that I forgot, and maybe I'll bring it next week and show it. But one of my favorite T-shirts from all time is my old Flash shirt. Red, and it doesn't have the one like he has on Big Bang Theory, just the bolt.
okay.
It actually
Yeah.
has him running,
Uh-huh.
but it's got holes in it now that I've completely worn it out so bad I can't even wear it now.
Well,
but I found
it'd be trendy, right?
Right, exactly. It's
Yeah,
got
frayed.
holes in it
They
and stuff.
sell them like that now.
Do
frayed.
they
Well,
really?
maybe not holes in a T-shirt, but
Yeah.
holes in jeans, and then the frayed
Right.
design.
No, I need to bring it and show it to you.
Yeah.
You can give me a ruling on if it's wearable or not. But it's my most comfortable, one of my most favorite T-shirts ever. But I found
Cool.
that the other day. But anyway, this past weekend I saw X-Men Apocalypse, which you haven't seen that yet. Have
Not
you?
yet.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Captain America first, and that'll kind of lead into X-Men because you finally saw X-Men or Captain
War.
America: Civil War, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thoughts?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. The action scenes are phenomenal. I mean, when Captain America is running and he jumps off a building and then just does that perfect roll landing, just phenomenal. Phenomenal action scenes. I love Black Widow. She's great. Killer fighting moves. Now, I'm just talking about her athletic prowess and her, ability.
Well, you're
as a
always talking
superhero.
about hot chicks, so I just assumed you were talking about the way she looks.
She's not bad to look at.
She's easy on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes, yeah. And
Scarlet Witch, though.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch is.
Scarlet Witch had my favorite scene in the film, and you probably immediately know what I'm talking
Which,
about. Okay,
I'm not
okay.
sure.
Possible spoiler warning-ish, not really, because it's early in the film.
Yeah,
But-
we'll go easy on the spoilers.
Yeah,
But
I don't think this is a
yeah,
spoiler.
okay.
It's early in the movie, and but okay. So there's a scene where Scarlet Witch uses her powers, and she lifts didn't she put a protective shield? Is it Captain America and throws him up?
Yeah.
And then it inadvertently explodes this building.
Right.
And there's civilian casualties.
Yeah, there's some casualties.
Wow, that
Yeah.
was phenomenal because it
That
was
was a
a
great
killer
scene.
move on her part to protect Captain America.
Absolutely.
But then, you've got collateral damage.
That's what kind of sets the whole scene for the movie
Yeah.
is that they're trying to do
Really
good, but there's
powerful scene.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
powerful scene. And she is hot though, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean,
it. She's
very hot, and she's always one of my favorite characters from the comic books. She's so
Oh, she's
powerful.
awesome
She can
in the
go.
comics,
She can
yeah.
go toe to toe with just about anybody.
Yeah,
which is
but
really
she's
cool.
kind of timid and meek.
Right,
so
she kind of
it's
holds
kinda-
back, but
yeah.
you don't want to really tick her off too
Right.
bad because then when she lets it rip, then
Yeah.
things happen.
Kind of like you, when you let one rip, it's just horrible.
Right, it's just the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but killer movie.
Right.
Really enjoyed it a lot.
Well, Captain America was also in the news this week. I don't know. We talked a little bit about this back and forth on Facebook, and this is the interesting thing is because not a lot of people are into comic books like they were when they were kids. All comic book readers now are adults. They're our age.
Most of them in their 20s,
For the most
30s.
part.
And for Marvel and DC try to do some kids things.
And we talked about Free Comic Book
Yeah.
Day and other things.
But
to
yeah,
try to-
most comic readers are in their 20s to 40s.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in our day and age, I think they're doing anything they can to try to get more and more viewers and more
Yeah.
and more readers.
Right.
And so the whole thing comes out this week that in this very first episode, Steve Rogers is back.
First issue?
Yes, first issue.
Yeah.
He's back. Not to go into too many details, but Steve Rogers had been drained of his powers and he was an old man. And Sam Wilson, Falcon, in the movies,
Yeah.
had taken over the mantle of Captain
Yeah.
America. But Captain America, Steve Rogers, gets his powers back. And then at the end of this comic book, and this is a spoiler alert if you're not a comic book person, but if you are, you might want to fast forward a little bit. But it turns out that Captain America, this whole time, has been a Hydra agent.
And they're promising it's not like what if story or an Elseworlds
or it's not a Dallas thing where
or a
Pamela
dream.
wakes up from a dream.
Yeah, they
you know,
say this is legit.
This is legit that he is, and he's not a clone. They said he's
Right.
not a clone. It's not a Steve Rogers clone.
Right.
That Steve Rogers has been a Hydra agent this whole time. Almost like if we were to put it in Brett Weiss parlance. That
Wait,
Steve,
you're talking comic books. It already is Brett Weiss parlance. What
no,
are you saying?
I was going to say if Steve Rogers was Alfred Hitler reincarnated, if he was that's a callback to an earlier episode.
Right.
If he was if Steve Rogers, the most pure, good superhero, well-intentioned ever,
willing to, dive on a grenade to
dive
save his
on a
platoon.
grenade
Right.
to save other grunt soldiers, is an undercover Hydra agent.
Well, see, okay, what Marvel has done with this and what the writer has done with this, it's both awful and stupid and brilliant at the same time. Okay, it's brilliant because it's going to sell a ton of comics and because it overshadows...
Conspiracy theory.
No conspiracy, just good marketing.
Good marketing,
And
yes,
it was actually, it was one of Marvel's writers' ideas, so it didn't come down from editorship. It wasn't an editorial directive. It was the writer thought of the idea, brought it to editorial, and they liked the idea. And it's a brilliant idea from a marketing standpoint. One, they're going to sell a zillion copies
Right.
for the next few months, as
Right.
long as this story plays out.
We're
it'll
talking
fade
about
off
it.
eventually. Yeah. Another reason is brilliant because DC had their big release, DC Rebirth. DC has rebooted their whole universe.
Right.
Well, this Captain America story is getting bigger media play, like Newsweek and Time and all this
Right.
stuff. They're covering this more than they are the DC relaunch.
Right.
So it's brilliant on Marvel's part, but at the same time, it's stupid because I've read Captain America comics since I was a kid in the 70s. I read a lot of the 60s issues to the present. I've read the really early stuff from the 40s, reprints of those. He's not a villain. He's not
No.
He's not an
They have
undercover
completely
agent.
jumped the shark.
Yeah.
This is the jump the shark moment.
Right.
And I don't care. At some point you have to say, yeah, it's going to get great press and a lot of attention.
A lot of non-comic readers are going to go in
Are gonna
based
go
on
into it.
this.
Yeah.
Just like the death of Superman. People are going to come
I was
in
trying
like crazy.
I was trying to think of what else could they have done to get outside attention. They could have made Steve Rogers said, well, he used to be a woman and he got turned into a man or something, just to get the LGBT
I've read enough
community
comics
in.
to know that's not true
That's
either.
not true either. But I'm just saying they're
Yeah.
reaching for something that is not possible, that doesn't make any sense in this world, just to get
Oh, it's shock
idiots
value,
like
for
you
sure.
and I, to talk about it,
Yeah.
which we're doing.
Yeah, it's
but,
shock value.
But if Steve Rogers is a hail,
Hail
it
Hydra.
says hail Hydra,
Right.
then the whole world is upside down and we're all in trouble anyway.
I mean, could you imagine like some reality star being president, like Donald Trump? I mean, something like that. Just something
That
so
would be
far-fetched,
insane.
you couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Just
like
something ridiculous.
or a professional wrestler being governor of a state or something. I mean, how
Never
crazy?
happen.
No. It can never happen. So anyway, but getting back into Captain America and the movies and stuff. Obviously, the movies are always behind a lot, so it doesn't necessarily mean the movies will go this direction. But the writers of the comics have said we're trying to give fresh material to the movie makers.
Well, I know
to
the
use if they
actor that
want
played
to.
Captain America is not pleased with this.
Has he spoken?
He
Has Chris
tweeted-
Evans
he
spoken?
tweet- Yeah, he tweeted, "Say it isn't so." Yeah. Speaking of Chris Evans, just real quick.
Yeah.
He was Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four
Absolutely.
movies.
Yeah. Mhm.
And when they announced, that was before the Captain America movies, when they
Sure.
announced that he was going to be Captain America, I was like, what? He's a smart aleck, wisecracker,
Right.
self-involved. Impossible. Why is he Captain America? He's brilliant as Captain
Can
America.
you imagine anybody else besides Chris Evans playing Captain America and Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark?
Brilliant casting.
Maybe two of the best casting
those
moves
characters.
ever.
Absolutely.
So, and speaking of Marvel movies, I went and saw this weekend X-Men Apocalypse, which is getting some mixed reviews. I really liked it. Now, I'm not prepared to go out on the limb of saying it's not a better movie quality-wise. There's a difference between saying that this is my favorite movie and this is the best movie. Do I think Star Wars is the best movie of all time? No. It's my favorite movie of all time. I love it the most. The Godfather is probably the best movie of all time, or something along those lines, right? As far as
Casablanca, along
something,
those lines.
something
Right.
that
Wizard of Oz.
the crafting, the acting,
Right.
all that stuff.
Not a wasted scene,
right?
that
So,
kind of thing.
so yeah, Civil War is the better movie of the two. I liked X-Men Apocalypse better.
Really?
I
Huh.
was entertained by it better.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ruin it for anybody because it has just come out. We are still under the statute of limitations
Yes,
for spoilers.
absolutely.
So no spoilers here. But the emotional connection I found, my eyes never teared up any during Civil War. I've kind of seen all of this. We've kind of been there, done that.
Yeah,
with,
it's been in the
with
comics,
Stark.
you know.
With Stark and his deal, he's him, and then they had the fight scene, but I never really felt like they were going to kill each other.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. So
X-Men got to you, huh?
X-Men got to me a little bit because you get to, and what they did similar to what Star Trek did.
Yeah.
which I got beat up for that pretty good
Yeah.
yesterday. I just say Star Trek. I don't.
Yeah. You can't just say Star Trek. You just shouldn't say that.
But it's just Star Trek. It's not Star Wars. It's not anything really
Trek.
important. It's
Sacrilege.
it's just Star Trek. It's not Star
Just
Wars.
Star Trek?
It
There's
is
no-
just.
No, there's no just.
No, but okay, Star Trek. We'll say
Okay.
that. They created an alternate universe, right? That an alternate timeline. You
Yeah.
know, Spock became captain before Captain Kirk, and then all this kind of stuff, and then it created two Spocks, right? We had the old Spock and the young Spock. So they created an alternate timeline. So an alternate timeline has now been, with Days of Future Past, created, right?
Uh-huh.
So now some people that were villains are heroes, and some people that are heroes are villains. And so there's been some, which is really interesting to
Yeah.
me. Okay, seeing. Okay, I almost said something. Okay,
No
I'm not gonna
spoilers.
say. Just seeing some people slightly cross over was
Okay.
very interesting to
Right.
me.
Okay.
Okay, these people that you had seen, and it's not Captain Rogers is now, Alfred Hitler shocking, but it's still a little shocking, but not jumping the shark,
Right.
because they all kind of get straightened out, blah 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 blah. So, and then seeing the origin stories of Scott Summers, and seeing the origin stories of Jean Grey, and them becoming who they're becoming and stuff.
Yeah.
There was some emotional stuff in there that really kind of connected with me in a way that, the funny lines in Civil War and the quips and the Spider-Man
Yeah.
and caca, that's all great and entertaining, super fun, a better movie probably, but I enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse better than I
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Some-
I would want to go back and see X-Men Apocalypse before I'd want to go back
Some
and
good
see
Dark
Civil War.
Phoenix stuff in there.
Oh yes,
Yeah, that's what I hear.
The emergence,
Right.
the introduction of Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, because a lot of fans didn't like the third X-Men movie, the Dark Phoenix aspects of it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But they just
the
kind of
Last
quickly.
Stand. Yeah,
the
no.
Last
This
Stand.
is this goes into a little bit
Right.
more of that, and she
cool.
has some amazing scenes in this.
Cool.
And so
All right.
I really liked it.
All
Now,
right.
Speaking of other movies that because I'm trying to get caught up on some
Yeah.
movies. Pixels. Okay, we said a week or two ago that I had not seen Pixels.
Yeah.
So I
And
sat.
this is a
down-
game where you have to see it.
You have to see it if you're a gamer. If you're into video games in any way, shape, or form, you have to see Pixels. Now,
Yeah.
I think my stance is pretty clear. My stance being that Adam Sandler has not been funny in a while. Although I still think it's in there somewhere. I think it's in there.
He's a funny guy, but his prime is definitely. I don't know if he's tired of the character he plays, or if it's just too well
or he
worn.
hasn't had the material
Yeah,
or something.
right. 'Cause I think
but
he's very talented.
But we kind of had the Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. To me, he was at his peak in 50 First Dates.
Yeah.
That's the funniest he ever was, and he was emotional in it. He
Yeah.
just had a range of
Yeah, he's a pretty
the
decent
love
actor.
interest.
Yeah.
I thought he was a good actor, and he was funny in that.
Happy Gilmore's my favorite. I mean, when he fights Bob Barker.
The
Gotta
price
love
is
it.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But Kevin James has never been funny
Yeah, well, see, Pixels
in anything.
and Pixels in general, it's not a real funny movie. I mean, it's supposed to be a comedy, but it's just not that funny. But I love the graphics.
The
I love the
visuals,
characters.
if you're an old school gamer
Yeah.
or a gamer of any kind, you have
Yeah.
to see it. The great stuff, the Q*bert, the Pac-Man,
And the big Donkey Kong scene
the
and all
Galaga,
that.
the
Yeah.
Donkey Kong scene.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what the best part of that movie is. Peter Dinklage is the best part of that whole movie.
Yeah.
A little person with the mullet and
Right.
the attitude
Yeah.
and stuff of being the fire blaster
Yeah, he's kind of like
and
a
everything.
small Billy Mitchell, you know?
Oh, that right there is worth seeing the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like his character in Elf, where he's just real cocky.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I've never watched Game of Thrones, so I don't. And that's my next show to binge
Yeah.
watch. But I've never seen him in Game of Thrones in that more serious role.
Yeah.
But in Elf, he's
Very talented
hilarious,
man, yeah.
and he is super funny in
Yeah.
Pixels. He has all the best lines, and he's really
And
funny.
I feel like, I mean, just if I feel like if I was born like that, where you're just a whole lot smaller than everybody else,
Right.
I might just just shrink even further, and just
Right.
hide or just feel bad about myself.
And
But
he's just the opposite.
He's
He
carved
is-
this amazing career,
Yeah.
and people love him, and he's out there and just open, and just he uses his stature to his strength,
Right.
as his strength.
Very
So
talented.
You gotta admire him.
Very talented.
Yeah.
And his dream, and I'm not going to spoil this for anyone that hasn't seen it, but I'll just say this: his dream that he wants. Remember in Armageddon where they're all like they have their demands if they save the world. One guy wants to never pay taxes, and one guy wants to.
That movie has such a ridiculous premise that I've tried to
block it out. Go through.
Yeah, let's send the
psychotherapy
very
and-
best people to go destroy this asteroid.
Right,
What?
exactly.
Come on.
Well, his thing, one of his demands is that he wants a, I guess the best way to put it is a Serena Williams and Martha Stewart sandwich in the Lincoln bedroom. I'm not going to spoil it, see if he gets
Yeah.
that or not, but that
And I'm not
scene-
saying I wouldn't want that, but it's way far down on the list.
I am saying I would.
Really far
It
down
doesn't
the
make-
list.
It doesn't make my list at all, but it's a really funny movie, and especially if you're into video games, the graphics, and then the creator of Pac-Man being in it.
It has funny moments and cool scenes,
Yeah.
but it's not the greatest movie, but it has moments that you'll enjoy.
Well,
if you're
a
video game fan.
lot of people ripped it really bad and said
Before
it
it
had some
even came out.
stereotypes. Yeah, it had
Yeah.
some stereotypes, and it does have some of those stereotypes in it. But I didn't find it offensive at all in that way. I thought it had some good moments. It's not going to win movie. It's not going to win an Oscar or anything.
Yeah,
but
you'll want to fire up some popcorn and just have
Yeah.
a few friends over and some laughs.
Yeah, just,
don't take it too seriously.
Talk
and you'll have
about
a good
the
time.
old days of Galaga and how
Yeah.
your centipede knowledge is going to help save the world someday.
Right, yeah.
We all feel like our knowledge of centipede will
Yeah.
help us. Was that ever? That was a big game in there. Were you ever a big centipede guy?
Huge Centipede fan, especially on the ColecoVision where you have the roller controller. That's
Right.
just a beautiful
I
adaptation.
never played it on
Yeah.
ColecoVision, but I played it in the arcade a lot. And
Oh, yeah.
something about Centipede, I was always trapping myself. I was always turning things into things too close to me, and they would turn into mushrooms too close
Yeah.
to me. And I could never quite.
Well,
That was one of those
some
I could
people
never
I've seen
quite.
play will manipulate the field. They'll shoot the right things in the field
To get it coming
to
a
create a
certain way.
tunnel.
Right, create a
to have it
tunnel
come
and-
straight down.
right.
And just, I could never get that good, but I was
No.
pretty good just playing it, freelance,
No,
just willy nilly.
I could never do that either. So,
Yeah.
and speaking of movies, next up, I'm getting caught up on Cloak and Dagger. So thank you for loaning that to me.
Yeah, sure,
I've got to
cool
watch.
movie.
I've got to watch that.
Now
so-
it's the perfect movie to watch if you're about 12 or 13 because you can put your. Now I'm not belittling it. I'm just saying
Right,
it's
right.
like watching ET or
It's
something.
aimed at
It holds
that.
up
It
for
holds up,
adults,
right.
but it's like if you're that age, you can identify with the main character. Perfect for that age, but you can still enjoy it as an
I
adult.
can't. It's hard for me to see Dabney Coleman though as being a spy. I've watched the first about 15 minutes, and then I was so tired I had to go to bed. But because every time I see Dabney Coleman, I think of 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
With him, and I think
Great,
he's a super spy. I think of him in 9 to 5, which is one of the funniest
hilarious.
movies ever. By the
Great
way,
movie, yeah.
Lily Tomlin,
great
Jane
female,
Fonda.
great female empowerment movie.
Oh.
Great stick it to the man movie.
Oh my gosh!
And
and
it's
him,
just
some of the
excellent,
scenes
yeah.
with him in the garage door over some of the best stuff. When
Yeah,
he's
and Ferris
like-
Bueller too. And he
Yeah.
no, is that Jeff? That's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones plays the same type of character, just kind of a gross,
9
bossy
times.
kind of character. Yeah.
9 times.
Right. Same type
9
of character,
times?
but just kind of a
Yeah.
gross, ugly actor, but really funny.
Right, but very
Yeah.
funny, but very funny. So I got to get caught up on Cloak and Dagger. But now let's get into the PlayStation Spotlight this week. Now, one segment that we're going to have every week is kind of a PlayStation Spotlight where we focus on stuff that's going on in PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that don't know, it seems like video service and other type of entity is coming out with their own shows now, right? We got on Netflix. We've got Orange is the New Black. That's
Yeah.
really been a popular series that's only on Netflix. Well, PlayStation this last year came out with their first PlayStation original TV series titled Powers. Now, for those of you that haven't watched it, I just started watching it because I kind of wanted to get caught up. Season 1 is finished up now. Season 2 premieres tonight on PlayStation Network. And this is based on a comic book that's been around for over 10 years.
Yeah, Powers was originally published by Image Comics from 2000 to 2004. And then in 2004, it moved to Marvel under their Icon imprint. And it's written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Michael Avon Oeming. And Brian Michael Bendis, comic fans will know, he wrote Ultimate Spider-Man, which was
Right.
just an excellent sort of kind of an alternate universe version of Spider-Man, but it
Right.
has the classic feel of Spider-Man. Came out in the 90s, but it was just for new readers to kind of experience, because there's nothing better than 60s Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
If you read the early Spider-Man stuff, well, they kind of wanted to create that feel with Ultimate Spider-Man in the 90s. Well, that was written by Brian Michael Bendis, who wrote the Civil War comics.
Right.
Now, do you know how involved he is in the show?
I don't know how. I
But
believe
you've been
he's-
enjoying the show.
I have been enjoying the show. I think
Yeah.
he's involved in
Maybe
it.
a exec, like producer
or something, I believe.
Yeah.
But I do know he's involved
Or
in the show
consultant or something.
because I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen his name.
Right.
But the first season is 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really enjoyed it. And I kind of went into it similar to the way I went into The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was based on, graphic
Yeah.
novels, comic books.
Another
And so
Image property.
Yeah, and I had no knowledge of that going into it. So I went into
Yeah.
it fresh. And I've liked Powers. Now, I've read some reviews on it and stuff, and I don't think there's any question that it's got a great premise, and it started off where they're kind of getting their footing, they're learning what they're doing, and by episode 3 and 4, I felt like they were really
Hitting their
They were
stride.
really hitting their stride. They
Yeah.
figured this thing out. They know what they're doing, which to me is to be expected. But the idea is, for those that haven't watched it yet, it's based around this character named Christian Walker, who in this world, in this reality, it's an alternate Los Angeles where people with powers are out in the open. They're known to be out there, kind of like mutants are known to be out there in X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
They walk the earth, and they're called powers. They call these people powers. And so Christian used to be the biggest guy out there. He was Diamond. Diamond was his superhero name. And his powers were drained in a whole thing that I'm not going to get into. And I'm just going to talk about what's been in trailers.
Kind of like
and
you
stuff.
drain my powers every time I see you.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
Obi-Wan with the Death Star, just
Right.
just take you down. And so his powers are drained, so he can't fly anymore. He's not invincible anymore. So he becomes a cop, and he's a detective. So it's about him trying to fight these other powers, these other power-imbued people,
Yeah.
and coming to grips with the fact that he's essentially missing a limb now, is how he describes it.
Right.
He had these powers. He was the most powerful guy out there, and now he's just trying to
Yeah,
be
that
a
would be a
regular,
weird feeling.
a regular guy.
Yeah.
And there's this one really poignant scene where he sees something off in the distance. He's up in his apartment, several stories up, and his instinct is to run to the ledge and jump. And he kind of stops and he looks and he thinks about it, and he's like,
Right.
I can't do it in that way anymore. I got to do it like
just so instinctual.
which is kind of cool because someone later kind of makes fun of him as like Christian Walker, huh? Walker, as in you
Right.
can't fly anymore. So
Yeah.
there's some kind of little plays and stuff. And
Right.
so what I like about this show is it's not your typical super powered kind of show. It's a combination of kind of a cop show.
Yeah.
But then it's got the super powered element to it.
Right.
And there's a lot of interpersonal relationships that they explore.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a past relationship with Retro Girl,
Mm-hmm.
who as soon as I heard Retro Girl, I was like, hey,
You thought of I'm a
I thought of
retro
Brett.
girl.
You're a retro,
I'm a retro
girl. Yeah,
girl.
exactly. Played by Michelle Forbes,
Yeah, nice.
who was in Star Trek.
Yeah.
She was the commander of
Ro
the
Lar-
Pegasus.
Ro Laren in Star
yeah,
Trek.
exactly.
Yeah.
Ro Laren. And she was the commander of Pegasus in
Cool,
the new
Battlestar.
reboots of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, brilliant show.
Very, and
Battlestar.
she's
Yeah.
Battlestar was very great. She was great in it.
Yeah.
And so she's like his old girlfriend, but she's the most powerful being out there right now. So there's all these different kind of things. There's also these what they call wannabes, is that people that want to be superheroes and think they have powers that just haven't manifested themselves
Yeah.
yet. So there's this whole storyline going on. But
Sounds
the
pretty
bottom,
cool.
But the bottom line is I have really enjoyed it, and the last 2 or 3 episodes have been really, really good. And the season finale, I watched it last night. And I cannot wait till tonight to see the
Cool.
season opening.
Yeah.
Because there were some big cliffhangers, some big things that happened.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend it. And I'm even going to start a power section on our website to discuss it. Because I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't. Because I know there are a lot of you out there that have seen it. But for those that haven't, it's completely free. If you've got a PlayStation Network account, I would highly recommend logging on and watching
Cool.
Powers.
Sounds
It's
good.
It's really cool. So now, also in the PlayStation Spotlight this week, is going to be something that we have to have a discussion about here for a moment, because it is literally driving me to the brink of insanity. Now, as you know, Brett, whenever you create your PlayStation Network account, you come up with a username. My username is Outlaw Curtis.
Yes.
You can reach me at outlawcurtis@gmail.com. You can reach me at outlawcurtis on HoldSquare.com.
Right.
That's how people know me. That's how a lot of people know
Yeah.
me. It is spelled OUTLAWCURTIS.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. Easy to remember, easy to understand, Outlaw Curtis. Well, there's this whole thing now, and it's not just in PlayStation Network, really. It's everywhere, even on Twitter and Instagram, where people are using numbers and other symbols for letters. So they're spelling insane, like if I'm Insane Gamer 217, they're spelling insane, the number 1, in, 5, the 4, in, and then backwards 3.
So if the
and
number
that's
kind of
supposed to
looks
be
like the letter.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so that's literally insane to me, and it's getting completely out of hand, and we have to, this is something that I'm going to have to start a movement. I don't know if we're going to have to make it a rule that you can't have this crazy thing, but I don't even know what to call these people, because if it's Insane Gamer, and it's 1 in, 5, 4 in, 3, backwards 3, I literally want to delete that person off my friends list. I don't even want to have anything.
That's pretty harsh.
It may be harsh, but it's driving me crazy. So
First world problems.
This may be is this another
first world
problem? Okay, so that's just something I want to mention is that people let's spell properly. You're a writer, for goodness sakes. You deal with the English language at least on some level of competency. So you have to back me up on this, right?
Well, with usernames, that's kind of, I think all bets are off with usernames.
Just the rules go out
Doesn't
the window.
bother me.
That doesn't bother you?
Sorry.
See, I thought you would back me up on this.
There's so many whack job new usernames that it just all blends together.
And then using the ampersand for an A in a name, you're just
Usernames, I
whatever-
think are
whatever
off
goes.
off the. Now with tech, I don't like when internet memes, if they show a picture and then have words,
yeah.
they're always spelled wrong and there's no hyphenation or comma. Grammar. I am a grammar Nazi a little bit with stuff, but
The English language
usernames
is-
are kind of whatever.
The English language is going down the toilet. I think we can all agree on that.
Some ways,
LOL being a good example of that. So anyway, okay, how about we take a trip to the OC for a minute?
The OC Burger.
Isn't that always...
Outlaw Curtis.
I haven't talked to OC Burger yet, but I'm telling you, I'm not kidding.
Maybe they can hook us up.
I'm going
with
to see if they'll,
burgers and fries.
some free coupons to
Yeah,
sponsor this
sure,
segment.
yeah.
Because like I always say, the OC is beautiful this time of year, and I always get all kinds of really cool questions to
All
talk
right,
about.
what have you been asked this time that you're going to harass me with?
There's two things that I'm really wrestling with right now. First of all, let me ask you this. I have to start with this. Have you ever gone through the drive-thru, maybe at Starbucks or McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, and had the person tell you the car in front of you just paid for your meal? Has that ever happened?
That has never happened, but I'm very familiar with the whole pay it forward thing.
You're familiar with the whole pay it forward thing. A couple years ago, there was a pay it forward streak of like 388 cars in some state or something at a Starbucks. Now, I have a definite opinion about this because, first of all, while I think it is very nice for the person that starts the chain.
It's a kind gesture.
Well, because think about it. The only person in the whole chain that is really doing anything of any note is the person that started it, right? Because they're paying for theirs and they're paying for the one behind them. So they're paying for two, right? So the person behind you, they're getting a free meal, but they feel obligated to pay for the person behind them, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't, but a lot of people would.
Would you just take it and just
score?
Yeah, so you just take it and drive off, and that's it. Chain of one.
Yeah.
It's just like one person.
And then I would complain if they didn't put everything in there.
You didn't get my free order, right?
Right.
Well, and the problem is this happened to me the other day. Me and a friend were in the car. We were going through the drive-thru at Starbucks, and they said, the person in front of you paid for your order. And our order was like $9. We had two drinks, and as you know, Starbucks is stupid expensive.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like $5 a piece.
I don't buy stuff at Starbucks.
Too many people do.
The only thing I ever get
segment.
at Starbucks is Earl Grey tea, which is about $1.50.
See, you're smart.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart. So our bill was like $9 and change, right? So when they paid for our drink, you still feel obligated to pay for the person behind you. But what if the person behind you's bill is $35?
Yeah. Well, it's the spirit of the thing, not the
Letter of
strict
the law.
dollars and cents. So, just
Well,
participate or not. It's up to you.
The bill behind us was $14.
Okay.
So we did get our $9 order free,
Yeah.
but now we're paying more than we would have paid because the person behind us had a $14 bill.
You don't necessarily have to pay it forward.
I'm trying to but you don't want to be the
But you
jerk
feel bad,
that,
right?
Yeah, who knows how long it's been going on.
Right.
Now, one thing in the article I read about that 388 person streak was that the barista at the counter got in the habit of asking the person, would you like to pay that forward?
Yeah.
That's almost like asking for a tip, which I
Yeah.
think they should not have done. If
Right.
it happens organically,
Yeah.
then that's kind of cool. And if their bill is paid for and then they feel like, oh, well, let me go ahead and pay for the person behind me, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But they were kind of prompting them
Right.
to do it.
Yeah,
in a way.
it gets kind of fuzzy
That
there.
feels like going over the
Yeah.
line a little bit.
Well, maybe
so.
one thing you could do to just solve, make your conscience feel okay and everything is, if someone pays for your $9 meal or whatever, make a mental note. $9, that's not your money. You give it to a needy person or just do something with it. Now, it doesn't pay it forward to the next Starbucks customer,
Right.
but it's still you still have $9 free to just give to somebody.
Has anybody ever
that's a
bought
needy-
your meal in a restaurant or done anything like that?
Actually, yeah. Chris and I were at a restaurant one time, and Jim Hackney bought our meal. We were sitting near him, and Jim Hackney, and just
I
friend of
know
ours.
who you're talking
Oh,
about.
I'm not
of
supposed to say his
course.
name?
Well, no, you
but yeah,
can say his
anyway,
name.
we were sitting at a
This is
restaurant.
nice. You're saying a
Yeah,
nice thing
and
about
we
him.
were-
What you were saying off camera earlier about Jim, now that's not something I want you to say, because you don't use that language on a podcast like
Yeah,
that.
and
so.
we were just sitting there, and they had left, and the server came up and said, the couple at the table over there bought it. Jim and Sue Hackney, they bought your meal. Chris and I think we're newlyweds and whatever, and
And see, that's
our kids
cool.
were little or whatever.
It's not exactly
So, yeah.
what I was asking
It
about.
was
I'm talking
you
about
asked if
total
anybody ever bought our meal.
stranger.
Oh,
Yeah.
total stranger.
Yeah, total stranger, just like you're in a restaurant and so-and-so just paid
I
for
don't
your meal.
recall that.
Well, I was talking to someone last night. I guess she and her husband and young child, and some strange couple that they didn't know had purchased their meal, which I thought was really cool. And I've heard of stuff like that happening,
Yeah.
but it's never happened to me. I'm waiting for.
Yeah, it kind of. I can see doing it, like maybe if someone's got a soldier uniform on or something, or
Now that happens quite a bit,
lot,
right? Yeah, by.
Yeah.
There was even a Dateline where they did a hidden camera thing,
Uh-huh.
and there was a soldier checking out, and he was
Yeah.
short a little bit.
Yeah.
And the people behind him, they want to see how many people behind him would offer to help him.
Right,
He was buying
yeah.
diapers and other things.
Yeah,
and
things
he's a
that-
soldier.
yeah.
And it was really cool to see people
Yeah,
do that.
that's
So
awesome.
I am all for that. I'm all for
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So
Well, we're living in an interesting age of charity. I mean, a few bad people make the world a bad place.
Right.
But I think in general, people have more attention to charity and being kind to others. I think there's a big focus on that in the modern world.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
Now I'm pulling something up on my phone here. I want to share with you. Also in the OC this week, I've got something really interesting. Now,
Yeah.
have you heard about this research that Google did about the most searched phrases in Google?
I heard something about that.
Did you hear something about that? Okay. Well, this week, Google and another agency did some kind of market research and search within the engine itself to see what was searched the most on Google by state. Okay. Now, again, this is more specific to the
Yeah.
United States, but
Yeah.
some of this stuff is pretty interesting. So, if I'm not going to name all 50 states, but let me just share a few with you that. Any idea what you think? Let's just start with Texas. We're in Texas. What do you think Texans searched the most on Google?
Dallas Cowboys.
No,
No.
that's not a bad one.
I don't know.
Anything?
Barbecue restaurant.
Here it is. Here it is. Where is the internet? Number one search in Texas.
That doesn't make us look good.
It does not. And
Yeah.
I got some garbage this week because sometimes when I open the show, I say, "Hey, what's up, internet?" Because I'm just being stupid.
Yeah.
And somebody who will remain nameless told me it made me sound like I was old, like I didn't know what I was talking about. In essence,
You're obviously saying it ironically.
I'm being ironic and being stupid. And
Yeah.
because when I'm doing our podcast, I just assume not only are we talking to all of Earth, but it's like in Contact. Remember the Contact movie with Jodie? There may be extraterrestrial
Yeah.
species that
Right.
that are hearing our broadcast. So I
Right,
want to be
yeah.
all inclusive.
We're doomed if that's true.
How do you what do you think would be the case if our airwaves, our podcast was the first thing that an extraterrestrial species
We would
saw
be
of Earth?
so invaded.
Wouldn't it be?
We would be so invaded.
These guys are ripe for the picking. They're just
Oh,
low hanging fruit,
absolutely,
just
yeah.
totally.
Be
right.
space invaders.
So
Just dropping bombs on us.
Galaga, we've
Yeah,
just been attacked by
absolutely.
Galaga, that kind of deal,
Yeah.
like in Pixels.
Oh, no question.
So from now on, I think we need to broadcast as if we're broadcasting to literally the solar system and maybe.
What are some of the others?
Well, let me tell you some of the other ones here. Oklahoma is very curious. Is Obama Muslim?
That's not surprising that
That's
that would
not
come
surprising.
from Oklahoma.
Now, Florida, they have some self-esteem issues
Mm-hmm.
in Florida, apparently, because the number one thing Googled in Florida is, why does everyone hate Florida?
Well, they have some nice white beaches, you know.
They've got Disney World. They've got
Miami Beach.
They've got Miami. They've got
Yeah.
summer year round essentially.
Right.
I mean, so that's why we hate Florida.
We're jealous.
Does anybody ever give Florida a second thought? Does anyone? I don't hate Florida.
People
There are states,
a lot of people go there to retire. I mean, it's.
I've never
I don't
heard
know.
anybody just really have a lot of hate
People don't
for
know how to
Florida.
drive in Florida.
Really?
That's one
is that
problem.
is that
Yeah,
part of
it's
it?
terrible.
Well,
Yeah.
I've driven in Florida. I don't remember it being any worse than downtown Dallas or LBJ or anything.
It's pretty
I
bad.
think it's worse. I got one for you. How about Kentucky? What do you think's on their mind in Kentucky?
You tell me.
How to make a baby. Number one question that is on the minds of Kentuckians, Kentuckyites.
Is that because of
Kentuckians?
the ignorant, abstinence-only education?
I have no idea.
Because when they teach abstinence-only education, teen pregnancy rates are higher in those areas.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Just a
get into
brief political moment.
Let's get into that on
Let's
another
don't go there.
podcast.
Yeah.
We'll save that for the
For never.
No, the DVD. We'll put
Right.
it on the added features on the DVD. Okay, so South Carolina, where's my phone?
Okay.
That's what they're
Right.
googling.
Do
Where's
you have any
my phone?
intelligent questions on there?
There,
from
there's
any of the
see
states?
that's the problem is we don't really
Well,
have.
we're talking common denominator, and you're
Right.
not going to get the most brilliant.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. So how about Kansas? Now Kansas, the heartland, the center of America, the real representation. They are really curious about how to make meth.
That's
That's their question.
Okay.
How to make meth.
Finally, we're getting into some good common sense
So
questions.
on how we're getting into some common
Right.
sense stuff. Of course, Minnesota is funner a word. Is funner a
That's
word.
not bad because
You're
I
an English-
always
you're an
thought
English guy.
funner should be a word because people keep saying it, and the way linguistics work.
If
a
enough people
word
say it becomes a word.
Yeah, it becomes and linguistics. People think of linguistics as being like school teachers, where they're
Right.
real strict about the language. They're actually some of the most fluid. They have fluid ideas about the language that it should
Right.
evolve and grow.
Right.
So
So-
that's okay. I'll give them a pass on that. one.
Okay. Now Hawaii, they're very existential. Now you would think in Hawaii they would have it all figured out, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're in Hawaii for goodness sakes.
What happens after you die?
Where else are you going to be? What is the meaning of life?
Okay.
That's what's typed
That's a
into
good question.
Hawaii.
I doubt the internet knows.
I know what the meaning of life is. You don't?
Video games?
42 is the meaning of life. You didn't?
The domino game?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, man.
Okay.
I
I got you. Douglas Adams.
The question 42 is the answer to the meaning of life.
Gotcha.
You don't.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yes, come on. Keep up with me here. 42. Okay, so one or two more here that
I
just
did
kinda-
grow up in Texas where they played a lot of 42. So.
and I was good at 42. I
Right.
love 42. It's great. Now, in Idaho, they have kind of an interesting question that really, I have to admit, has never popped up into my head.
Okay.
And that's, is Ted Cruz the Zodiac Killer? That's being
That was
typed
a meme going around.
That's
for a
being
while.
typed into
Yeah.
Google in
Right.
Idaho more than
It's
any
kind
other
of yesterday's
phrase.
news.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
really curious about that. So, Iowa, they want to know if penguins have knees. They're very curious about that in Iowa. I don't know why penguins in Iowa exactly.
I think it's a
but
conspiracy. Corporations are typing these in,
it-
hiring
it
people to
could
type
be.
these in.
It could be.
From different IPs.
Michigan, they're
What is
curious if Mr. T is dead.
That's weird.
So anyway, there's
Yeah. No gaming related questions.
No,
huh?
no, and I looked for some gaming related ones. Although one of my favorites is West Virginia. You guys got it really going on out in West Virginia. When is Cinco de Mayo?
That's okay. Whatever.
Is it Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, May 5th?
May 5th? Do we not know
Yeah.
enough? I mean, I'm not fluent in Spanish by
Right,
any
but that's
stretch, but
pretty much,
Cinco.
you know, burrito, taco, Cinco de Mayo.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah, chimichanga.
Pretty common
I know
sense
enough.
there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I wanted to share that with
All
you.
right.
That's a pretty
Good stuff.
interesting
Good
stuff.
stuff.
So anyway, so what do you got for show and tell this week, Brett?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I couldn't help mention my new Encyclopedia of Kiss.
Right.
Now, what this book is, it's a labor of love. The 40-plus year career of Kiss is distilled into this 230-something page book in alphabetical order. The band members, the replacement members, the girlfriends,
Take a
the
look at that for a
wives. There's photos in there.
Really cool.
the the events, the tours, the albums, the songs, the CDs, the TV and movie appearances, the whole works is on here. You can find this book if you go to brettweisswords.com. You'll see a link at the top of the page, the cover. Just click on that to go to the Amazon if you want to pick that up.
And there's actually a lot of words in here, so you didn't just fluff it up with just pictures.
There's
you actually brought some of your insight and put it on the page, which I think is great.
There are well over 150,000 words. So yeah, this book took 2.5 years to write, part time. I have my real job is writing articles and things. I write books when I can,
And playing Mr. Do.
Yeah. And so, everything. Like if Gene Simmons made some obscure film or TV appearance, boom, it's in there.
Wow.
If the band,
cool.
when Peter Criss quit the band, why, boom, it's in there. What was his relationship like with Lydia Criss, his wife, who I'm now Facebook friends with, by the way.
What?
And who I've interviewed. Yeah, so it's really cool. That's my new book. So I thought I'd talk about KISS a little bit.
You're friends with people in KISS. The world is just upside down at this point.
Well, it's taken 49 years to get to this point, so it's something. I'm almost 49, not quite. Okay, so you would think KISS would make the perfect subject for a video game. I mean, you've got four larger than life characters who in Marvel Comics and in Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, the old made for TV movie, had superpowers. Mm-hmm. They're visually attractive, explosions on the stage, perfect video game. You could make a 4-player like the old X-Men game or the Simpsons game where you've got 4-player melee,
Right, sure.
That would make a perfect game.
Right.
Have they ever done that? No. There's a really terrible KISS pinball game for the PlayStation 1, which is just 2 boards, generic music, long load times, clumsy flippers. I mean, it's just a terrible pinball. Bad ball physics, voice effects like "Let's get ready to rumble." I mean, stuff that has just generic stuff that has nothing to do with KISS.
Did KISS ever? Just let me ask you this: Did KISS? And you may not know this off the top of your head, but did KISS ever make it into any like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, any of those games?
I believe that's in here.
Is it?
I think it's off the top of my head. I think it's Guitar Hero 3.
Okay.
And but anyway, you can look it up in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
recommend the book. Okay. Yeah. I'll take a look. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was also a first-person shooter for the Sega Dreamcast. KISS. It's called KISS Psycho Circus: The Nightmare Child. It's based on the Psycho Circus comic book. It's a first-person shooter. Now, I've never actually played this game. It's for the Dreamcast and the PC. PlayStation and Game Boy versions were canceled, but from what I hear, it's a pretty typical first-person shooter game with melee weapons.
Right.
But nothing. It doesn't really add anything to the genre.
Right.
But it's playable. But But KISS has been underexploited with video games. There should be really cool KISS video games. There were a couple of pinball machines. The old Bally one from the late 70s, excellent pinball machine. They hadn't developed the music and everything yet, so it's just bloops and bleeps, basically the pinball equivalent of
pinball equivalent of their
But the new KISS pinball machine from Stern is freaking awesome. You've got jam and KISS tunes, like 10 different songs or something.
Wow.
You've got the little figures on the machine.
Is there a place around here that I could go and play that? Where's it close? Does anyone have it around here that you know of?
Not that I know of, but if you go to the Texas Pinball Festival each year, and there's Google Pinball Texas KISS Pinball, I'm sure you can play it somewhere because these those arcades are popping up around.
Oh, they're popping up everywhere. Yeah, I see it on Facebook.
But I've played it a few times at events like the Texas Pinball Festival. They had a KISS Pinball release party, so I've played it several times. Really awesome. And for the KISS tie-in, I brought in a few of my vintage KISS items.
Okay.
For you to
let's check those out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, I grew up a big KISS fan since the mid-'70s. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, I love the makeup, the costumes, the concerts, the explosions, and everything. But to me, it was always first and foremost about the music.
About the music, right?
Without the music, all the makeup and stuff would be
Doesn't
meaningless
mean anything,
if it didn't
right?
hold up. This is the LP, their very first album. And you notice their makeup looks a little different.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the very first one. This is Rock and Roll Over, really cool circular cover design. Love this album. This has Hard Luck Woman on it, which was a really big hit. Sounds a lot like Rod Stewart. Mm-hmm. Their first live album, the record that really broke them into the mainstream and made them go big, that had the live version of Rock and Roll All Night. Mm-hmm. Kiss Alive, one of the greatest live albums of all time.
Wow.
And what I like about records, you got the big graphics, you got the fold cover, and you've got the great visuals, live in concert, great stuff. And then, of course, they followed it up a few years later with Kiss Alive 2, which opens up to show just an incredible concert scene. Mm-hmm. What other band are you going to get this from?
Yeah, nobody.
No. That is just awesome. And then you've got a few others. Gene Simmons solo album, it's from '78.
Right.
Really cool. Now this one was a curiosity. Music from the Elder. This was their biggest. Kiss has a lot of Spinal Tap moments.
Right.
Kind of, great band, but they did some missteps and funny things.
Sure, yeah.
This was their concept album, Music
Okay.
from the Elder. Now, I like this album, of course.
Yeah.
But when it came out, it baffled fans. They're not on the cover. They're not on the back of the cover. And, of course, they're not even on the inside pictured. This is a visual band with makeup and explosions and everything.
That's very
They're not
interesting.
featured. But it has a storyline about a boy going from a boy to hero, like a fantasy storyline.
Okay.
Great album if you give it a chance. And so that's just a few of the Kiss records in
Okay.
my collection. This here is called Kiss by Robert Duncan. It's the very first book ever published about Kiss.
Wow.
It's like 77 or 8. And it's just a mass market paperback with some photos. But it's actually a really good book. Now,
Very
what's
cool.
interesting, the early stuff about Kiss didn't mention like Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley's drug problems. They didn't mention fighting among the band.
Right.
All the almost every band that has inner turmoil.
Sure.
The early writings about Kiss didn't really cover that, but nowadays, when you know everything about everything, all that's covered in
All that's-
depth,
yeah.
including in Encyclopedia Kiss.
Right.
Now, this is the famous Kiss comic book, Marvel Comics Super Special, #1.
So cool looking.
This is the one,
love that.
the famous, now a lot of people thought this was an urban legend where they put their blood in the ink. Well, they actually did this. It was...
What?
Yeah. Each Kiss member, they went to a place, like a Carter Blood Care type of place.
Right.
And they put or those people came on site or something. Somebody came to get a little vial of blood out of each of their, out of each Kiss member. And, or I should rephrase that. Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace, they got blood out of
Right.
them. And they put a small amount in the vat of ink that was used to produce this comic book. And so there's some of their DNA in this issue.
Right.
So this was the first Kiss comic book. This was awesome. As a kid, I can't tell you how excited I was when this came out. And
So if you wanted to take one of these items, and for all of the extraterrestrial kind of communities that are listening right now, and you wanted to put it in the capsule to represent the best of Kiss, which of their albums would it be? Which would you?
probably Kiss Alive.
The live
Yeah,
album.
that was the closest thing you could get to a concert experience on your record player. See, when I was a kid, I couldn't go to Kiss concerts because my parents wouldn't take me.
Right.
Not because they were against Kiss or anything. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They just weren't going to drive there and pay the money.
Right.
That was just too much of a hassle.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't care about it. So,
Right.
But hearing that album was just the closest thing you could get to a live Kiss concert. Back in the pre-YouTube days and all that. So.
Well, that is.
And I've also
that is
got one more
awesome.
thing.
Okay.
This is really
that's
rare.
nice.
The first or the only, from the day.
Right.
Kiss board game,
Kiss
just your classic board game, and you go on tour with Kiss through like 8 cities, including Dallas. So you got your Texas tie
Dallas is in there. Okay,
yes,
cool.
it is. And,
That is really neat.
You got the board that pieces together, the old game board.
I wonder if
stuff,
Metallica
so-
has a board game. Metallica is my band. I'd love to have a Metallica board game.
It's
That'd be
entirely
cool.
possible.
That is so
They've been
cool
merchandised
looking.
quite a bit. So yeah,
really.
pretty cool. Got the old album art on there and everything. Really cool.
Well,
Like
let me-
King Kelly.
Let me take a look at your book again. This looks really good, man. Good luck on this. I know you've been working your tail off on this.
Well, this
so-
morning I looked it up on Amazon, and it's currently #1 in the new music reference books on Amazon. It's holding the top slot, which really blew me away.
That
I
is
thought that was
congratulations,
awesome. Yeah,
man.
thank
That
you.
is awesome.
Very exciting. Part of that, of course, I think it's a quality book.
Right. You're
But-
partial to the author.
But seriously, it says a lot to the Kiss fans. Kiss fans are some of the most passionate. I mean, you talk about Trekkies and Star Wars fans.
Right.
There's nothing like Kiss fans. They are the most passionate fan base in the world of anything. These guys are hardcore, and anybody that bought this book, I really appreciate it. It shows your love for the band and just wanting to know more about them. It's a good tool for researchers, for Kiss fans, for music critics or whoever. Just check it out.
Well, that's awesome.
And like I said, BrettWeissWords.com. There's a link to the book.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for that, man. And
Certainly.
thanks to you guys for watching today. That's all we've got time today on the HoldSquare Video Game Podcast. Thanks again to our buddy here, Derek Morrison, for letting us come into the shop here at 8176 Designs. Again, thank you for my awesome Chewbacca t-shirt, which is great. And as you can see on our website, there's a link to the 8176designs.com HoldSquare store where you can check out some of the shirts here, some of the new merchandise we've been working on, and so forth. So once again, I'm Outlaw Curtis. Thanks again to Brett for joining me as always, and we'll see you guys next time.
Rock on.